One of the hardest things for a racing driver, especially when they take the step up into Formula One, is to learn everything on the steering wheel, basically. The main things on which a Formula One driver needs to be changing is what gear you're in. That's basically the most important thing a driver wants. Your lap time, your delta, and then you would have along the side here your battery state of charge. So you would see if you have 100% battery or 60% or whatever. And you know if it's low, obviously you need to recharge the battery. And if it's high, you're probably in a situation where you're going to attempt to overtake someone, say in a race or something, in which case you would change to the scenario switch and then deploy more battery to try and overtake. Along the top, your rev counter, which goes inwards or all the way to across, depending on which driver they want. And then you just have some little warning lights, which would be overheating or anything that can go badly wrong, basically, would flash up there. You have all these dials here, which you might hear them on the radio sometimes say to change them or advise them on. So you have the diff, which change how open the diff is, the differential. And you have different parts of the corner for each one. So you have one which would help open the diff on the entry phase of the corner. And then the second one which would open or close the diff basically from the mid or throughout the whole way through the corner. Then you have a radio button, which is just on a latch, and a launch button, which you just put on for the start, and then switch off when you're done. Obviously, pit limiter, quite an important one in Formula One. Neutral button when you're coming to a stop. Then it gets a bit more complicated with these ones. So the middle one is the scenario switch, which you change sometimes throughout the race, whether it's becoming wet, if it's, you change between a qualifying run to then the in-lap. So it changes the charge on the battery, basically, and how much it regenerates throughout the lap. And you can set it to in the race mode, so it kind of deploys slowly over 2 laps or 3 laps or 4 laps, say. And then you can put it into a mode where it deploys all the battery in 1 lap. And finally on the back, we have, I'm not allowed to show you guys, but gear shifts, upshift, downshift, 2 clutch pedals, only one of them which you're allowed to use for a start. We also then have 2 toggles which can change, say for one specific corner you want to change several things. You want to change some of the diff settings, some of the brake settings. Instead of doing all of them in the straight, basically, or if you don't have enough time, you can set so all of them change on one of them. So basically, you would go up would be off, then down would be all of these changes to the setting that you want. Yeah, it gets quite complicated. I guess that's why it's quite hard to jump into F1.